Most people believe that success is something you chase. They think if they run fast enough, work hard enough, or beg the universe long enough, it will eventually hand them a trophy. But what if I told you that the universe doesn't give gifts? What if I told you that life is not a charity, but a marketplace? There is a psychological wall standing between where you are and where you want to be. And that wall is made of lack of money or lack of luck. It's made of a single, devastating identity, the taker. Today, I'm going to share a story that will challenge everything you think you know about your own value. This isn't just a tale of a man who changed his life. It's a blueprint for the value exchange principle, the secret law that Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and every titan of industry uses to command the world's attention. By the end of this video, you won't just see the world differently, you will see yourself differently. Because the moment you stop asking for permission and start offering value, the world stops being your master and starts being your partner. Welcome to Improve Your Mindset. Let's begin. The station was a sea of motion, thousands of souls moving toward destinations, dreams, and deadlines. And in the center of it all sat Roni. Roni didn't have a destination, he had a spot. A cold, square meter of concrete near platform 4. For years, Roni had survived on the crumbs of others' lives. He was a professional in the art of the invisible hand, outstretched, trembling just enough to evoke pity, but not enough to cause discomfort. His internal monologue was a loop of scarcity. I have nothing. I am nothing. Therefore, the world owes me something. But here is the psychological trap. The one many of us fall into even if we aren't on a station floor. When you identify as a victim, you become invisible. People weren't looking at Roni. They were looking at their guilt. And guilt is a currency that devalues very quickly. One Tuesday, the rhythm changed. A man stepped off the 9-0 to express. He didn't look like the others. He didn't look away, he looked directly at Roni. Roni saw the gold watch, the polished leather shoes, the aura of a man who owned his time. He saw a target. Sir, Roni croaked, his hand reflexively rising. A few coins, for a man who has nothing. The businessman stopped. He didn't reach for his wallet. He didn't offer a look of disgust. Instead, he looked at Roni with a terrifyingly neutral expression, the look of a man evaluating a contract. Why? The businessman asked. Roni blinked. Why? Because ... because I am hungry. I have nothing to give. The businessman leaned in, his voice like cold silk. And that is exactly why you are still sitting on this floor. Roni, you think the world is a one-way street. You think your misery is a product you can sell. But I am a businessman. I deal in trades. I don't give. I exchange. Roni was stunned. Exchange. I told you, I have nothing. Then you have no right to ask, the man replied, not with cruelty, but with a factual coldness that burned worse than an insult. If you offer 0, the return will always be 0. $0 times 1,000 is still 0. Until you find something to put on the table, don't expect a seat at it. The train whistle screamed. The man turned and disappeared into the crowd, leaving Roni in a silence more deafening than the engines. That night, Roni couldn't sleep. The words I exchanged were a fever in his mind. In psychology, this is known as a cognitive dissonance. Roni's old identity, the beggar, was being attacked by a new truth. He realized that for years, he had been a value vampire. He was asking the world to invest in a business that produced nothing. He looked at his hands, calloused, empty. What do I have? What can a man with no home, no money, and no status possibly offer? He realized that even a smile is an exchange. Even a kind word is a trade, but he wanted more. He wanted to prove that businessman wrong. Or perhaps, he wanted to prove him right. The next morning, Roni saw them. Near the edge of the rusted tracks, where the city tried to choke out nature, a cluster of wild lilies had forced their way through the gravel. They were bright, resilient, and beautiful. An idea, fragile as the petals, took root in his mind. He didn't beg that day. He spent the morning carefully harvesting the flowers. He cleaned his face in the station restroom. He straightened his tattered coat. When the afternoon commuters arrived, Roni stood. He didn't sit, he stood. A woman approached, hurrying toward her train. Roni stepped forward, but his hand wasn't empty. "Ma'am," he said, his voice steady. "A flower for your journey, to brighten your desk." The woman paused. She looked at the flower, then at him. For the first time in years, someone looked Roni in the eye, not with pity, but with curiosity. She reached into her purse, handed him a $5 bill, far more than he'd ever received for begging, and took the lily. "Thank you," she smiled. "It's beautiful." In that moment, the beggar died. The entrepreneur was born. Roni realized the first law of success. People don't pay for what you need. They pay for how you make them feel. He wasn't selling flowers. He was selling a moment of peace in a chaotic day. He was providing value. The station became Roni's laboratory. He began to study his customers. He noticed which flowers people liked. He noticed that if he offered a genuine compliment with the flower, the exchange became even more valuable. He wasn't begging for survival anymore. He was growing a brand. A month later, the businessman returned. Roni was waiting near platform 4. He wasn't on the ground. He was standing tall, a small basket of carefully wrapped wild bouquets on his arm. When he saw the man in the charcoal suit, Roni didn't hesitate. He walked up and handed him a vibrant blue iris. "An exchange." "Sir," Roni said, "as you requested." The businessman looked at the flower, then at the man standing before him. A slow, respectful smile spread across his face. He pulled out a $20 bill. "You're not a beggar anymore, are you?" the man asked. Roni looked him dead in the eye. "No, sir, I'm a merchant, and business is good." "Correction," the businessman said, stepping onto the train. "You are a man who finally understands his own worth. Don't stop here." 6 months passed. The station was the same, but the players had changed. A man sat in the first-class carriage, reviewing a spreadsheet on a tablet. He was wearing a tailored suit, his hair neatly trimmed, his eyes bright with the fire of a man who has a mission. Another man sat across from him. He looked familiar. He narrowed his eyes, squinting at the man with the tablet. "Excuse me," the second man said. "You look incredibly familiar. Have we met in the city?" The man with the tablet looked up and smiled. It was Roni. "We have, Julian, twice, actually. Once when you told me I had no right to ask for anything, and once when you bought an iris from a man who had finally found something to give." "Julian, the businessman?" gasped Roni, "the flower seller from platform 4. "I don't sell flowers at the platform anymore," Roni replied. "I own the floral kiosks in 4 different stations now. I'm on my way to sign a contract for a 5th. I realized that the flowers were just the beginning. The real product was the mindset." What changed for Roni? Did he get lucky? Did the flowers magically appear? No. The world stayed exactly the same. The station was just as cold. The people were just as busy. The only thing that changed was the internal narrative. 1. From scarcity to abundance. Roni stopped asking "what can I get?" and started asking "what can I contribute?" 2. The law of reciprocity. Human psychology is hardwired to give back when we receive. When you give value first, you create a value debt that the world rushes to repay. 3. Identity shifting. As long as Roni saw himself as a beggar, he acted like one. The moment he saw himself as a businessman, his posture changed, his speech changed, and his results changed. Your life is a mirror. If you stand in front of a mirror and frown, you cannot wait for the reflection to smile first so that you can be happy. You must smile first. The reflection has no choice but to follow. Right now, you might feel like Roni on that cold concrete floor. You might feel like you have nothing to offer the world. You might be waiting for a break, for someone to notice you, for a hand to reach out and pull you up. But I am here to tell you what the businessman told Roni. Stop waiting for a gift and start preparing an exchange. You have a talent, you have a perspective, you have a story, you have a service. Even if it's as small as a wildflower by the tracks, find it, refine it, and offer it to the world with everything you've got. The Improve Your Mindset journey ain't about wishing for success. It's about becoming the type of person that success is attracted to. It's about realizing that your greatness is not determined by what you take from this life, but by what you give to it. Change your thoughts. Change your value. Change your world. If this story shifted something inside you today, if it reminded you of the power you carry, then do me a favor. Hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that this message of value is worth spreading. Comment below with one thing you are going to offer the world this week. Is it more discipline? Is it a new skill? Is it kindness? Let's start a conversation about value. And if you're ready to stop begging for the life you want and start building it, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Join the Improve Your Mindset family. Remember, you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your exchanges. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep growing.